Hola! Today we're going to be working with telling time. We're going to learn and start working with how to answer the question, ¿Qué hora es? Or what time is it? Make sure that you take notes, pause as needed to answer questions and give things a try on your own. Ask questions, raise your hand and call me over, or try to contact me via the earphones if you need to. And we will be practicing a bit more in class tomorrow. The first thing you need to be aware of is sometimes we say es la plus the time of day to help us tell time. When the hour is 1 o'clock in Spanish, we're always going to say es la before the number. We use es la whenever the hour is 1 o'clock because es is singular. In order to say it's 1 o'clock, we are going to say es la una. There are two other times of day during which you may say es in order to tell the time. And those two times are noon and midnight. In order to say it's noon, you say es mediodía. In order to say it's midnight, you say es medianoche. However, if you want to simply say it's 12 o'clock, you're going to use the next expression to tell time. Most of the time, for any time when the hour is more than 1 o'clock, we're going to say son las to tell the hour, because son is plural. Then we say the time of day. So in order to say it is 2 o'clock, we say son las dos. In order to say it's 3 o'clock, we say son las tres. And before you go on, make sure that you try to write down the translation in Spanish for it is 4 o'clock on your own. Now we're going to go on to figure out how we tell the number of minutes past a certain hour. If we want to tell the number of minutes past the hour, we use y, which means and, followed by the number of minutes. If we want to say, for example, it is 1:05, we say es la 1:05. Technically, this translates to it is 1 hour and 5 minutes, but the way we would say it in English is it is 1:05. Our next example is son las 2:10. Technically, this would translate to they are 2 hours and 10 minutes, but the way we say it in English is it is 2:10. Pause the video for a moment and try the next three at the bottom of page 1 on your own. See what you can come up with and call me over to check your answers once you think you're set. If there's a long wait and you feel ready to move on, you can move on your own and ask me to check once you're done. Restart the video when you're ready to begin again. There are a couple of other things you need to be aware of. In order to say it's 15 minutes past the hour, in other words, a quarter hour, we say cuarto, which can mean quarter. For example, if we want to say it is 6:15, we would say son las 6:15. In order to say 30 minutes past the hour or half hour, we're going to say media, which means half. It's one of a couple of different ways to say half in Spanish, but when we're talking about time, we're going to say media. So, por ejemplo, we have son las 7:30, which means it is 7:30. Now, the way we've been going about telling time so far works really well up to that 7:30 half hour point. Okay, it doesn't have to be 7 o'clock, but half hour point. Things change a little bit if we're talking about 31 to 59 minutes past the hour. As you're getting used to this, it's best to follow these steps. So make sure you're on Página 2 and in the middle there. The first thing you need to do is go up to the next hour. So for example, if it's 6:44 p.m., the next hour is 7 o'clock. So we would start off with son las 7. The next thing you need to do is figure out the number of minutes until the next hour. If doing math in your head is not your thing, the easiest thing to do is going to be to take 60, the number of minutes in any hour, and subtract the number of minutes that are given in the time. So for example, if we take 60 minus 44, we're going to end up with that there are 16 minutes left until 7 o'clock. Now what you have to do is put everything together. We've already started off with son las siete to say it is 7 o'clock. Now what we do is we use the word menos or minus instead of e to indicate that we are subtracting minutes from the next hour. We already figured out that there are 16 minutes until 7 o'clock. So what we need to say is that the time is 7 minus 16. In other words, son las siete menos 16. It's another way of saying, well, there are 16 minutes until 7 o'clock. We're going to do one example and walk through it together. And then after that, you're going to try the final 3 that are on Página 3 on your own. Feel free to call me over if you have questions or need assistance. So here's our example at the bottom of Página 2. The time you're given is 9:32. So the next hour after 9:32 is 10 o'clock. So in Español, we're going to start off by telling this time as son las 10. In order to figure out how many minutes there are until the next hour, if we need to actually do, if we need to do the math, not in our head, if we're not the type of person like Senora is not necessarily this type of person who can look at this and just tell the time, you need to take 60 minus 32, which leaves us with 28 minutes until the next hour. So now we need to figure out how to say that it's 10 minus 28. In other words, there are 28 minutes until 10 o'clock. Our answer in Spanish is ultimately going to be son las 10 menos 28. What you're going to do now is do the final 3 on Página 3 on your own. Feel free to call me over if you have questions or need assistance, and have me check your work when you're done. Adios.